I love that music. Oh my God.
We played it just for you. 90.
Just for you, okay? Just
Thank
for
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, hello to everybody. So, I don't know. I can't see who's coming in. Whoever's coming in, hello. Hello, Katie. We're happy that you guys are here. Oh, I meant to say something to Wake Up Makeup Slay. It was about a makeup. Oh, you know what? I'll get to that later. Anyways, hello, panelists. How goes it? How is everybody?
Happy Black History Month, the shortest
Black
month in the
History Month?
year.
Yes, absolutely.
I have a surprise topic that I'm waiting to introduce. So,
God. Before you do that, before we get into this, it's Black History Month, and we know Beyonce came through. So, for those who are not aware, please go forth and buy your tickets. These are the tour dates. The North American leg of the tour starts. Where is it? Yeah, here. So if you guys can see my screen, just go to the Beyonce website. The pre-sales are there for verified fans. So if you're not a verified fan, sucks to suck.
Did you see what happened to Beyonce in Dubai? Did you hear the news?
When she was when a camel ran after her.
Yes, yeah, when a camel ran.
You can't do Jay like that. He's a legend. Really? Poor Jay. Oh my God. How is everybody? Let's go. I want to know how everyone is doing individually. We're going to start with Kay, ladies first.
I am doing well. We just started the third quarter at school, so a fresh start. I'm really excited about that. And also, we do not have school on Friday, so a long weekend. So I'm really looking forward to it.
I love long weekends. I love when there was no school on Friday and Mondays. That's the best.
Oh yeah, the 4-day, absolutely.
Is it crunch time, do you find?
At this time of year, it's just, we're just making it through. It's like the middle, so it's like a Wednesday. Let me put it like that.
We're waiting for March break.
Yeah, we're gonna get there.
Yeah, we're waiting.
Spring break is not too far away.
Oh, you guys call it spring break. That's so many weird differences. Okay, March break, spring break, around the corner. Themis, how goes it?
I am doing well. I am excited to go and book my ticket to go see Beyonce. So that is great. Ready to sell a kidney or two to be able to afford these tickets. But no, someone asked if camels were chasing Beyonce. No, there wasn't a camel. There was a camel chasing someone in a yellow dress, and people have been saying it's Beyonce. But yeah, no, I'm good. I am doing great.
Petty?
Thank goodness. I've just been waiting for y'all to get to me. I don't understand how I'm the person who introduced the idea of how are we all doing this week? And yet it's always me who's the last person who gets to
I'm sorry, you introduced that? That's a human courtesy to ask, how are you
human
doing?
courtesy that y'all were not showing each other until I introduced it. But anyway, my week has been going well. School was definitely canceled this week because there was snow. I'm not in school, so that doesn't matter to me at all. I'm a janitor. But also, I have started my Manosphere arc. So I have journeyed into Red Pill. I've taken the Red Pill. I'm going to do the misogyny and all that good stuff. So
the grit.
Serious note, though. Serious note. You did an interview with Kidology. You premiered it today. I have to say, the first part of the conversation was about things that I don't care about. That is disgusting. No one asked. But the second part of the conversation is really good. I thought it was a really well done. You're a good interviewer. Huh?
Can you tell me what was disgusting, please? You can't say that and then not say it.
Ask Petty. I
guess y'all will have to go watch the video on my
Ask Petty.
Can you just give me a summation, please?
Ask Petty what he called this lady from the UK She's in the UK now, huge YouTuber. Petty asked for an interview. She gave Petty an interview. Petty's talking to her. And Petty decided, I mean, she made a video about this, but Petty decided to spend the first half of the interview being quote unquote vulnerable and told her things about himself that he has done. And she reciprocated the foolishness by talking about things that happened to her that in yoga class. It was a mess, but I was here for it.
And then we talked about political issues after, if you can make it through that part, or you could just skip to that portion of the video. It's fine.
So your manosphere arc has begunneth. So are you saying the grift has begun? So are you saying that we're in the matrix? Are you saying that everyone's a simp? Like, are you really?
No. See, okay, so here's what it is. I went on a date this weekend, and the woman, I left my wallet at home, so she paid for my date. And I was thinking this was just a generous action, but I went home and I watched some Fresh and Fit, and they told me that this was emasculating to me as a man, and I believe them. So now I hate women, and that's my arc. I'm doing it. We're going out there, 2023.
Wait, how was the date?
The date was great until the end, where I didn't have my wallet. I haven't gotten the call
her. Did you Venmo her?
No.
Did you make it with her?
Did you cash app? Wait. Did you cash app her?
No, she said I could get the next one, and then she blocked me on everything.
No, what?
I like her. I like her. So yeah, no, I like her. So Petty, you hate women now? Is that it?
Yeah. This is my arc.
Is it Black women specifically, or all women?
Why would I specify? That would be so racist.
Well, you're a Black man, and manosphere, Black manosphere. I mean, they love white women.
You just assumed my gender. You just assumed my race. I could be transracial. Y'all don't know who I am. You don't know me. So you think
you're kidology, basically. You had one interview.
Okay,
and now you think that you're her.
So you just want to bring people who are external into our conversation. But
I'm sorry, you guys brought her in. You know what? Forget it. You said how you were doing.
May I introduce my surprise topic now?
Wait, no. Can I ask a question to you first?
Go ahead.
Do you think people should be going at incels and manosphere people with more grace and compassion?
I don't know.
No, you know.
I think it's appropriate for men to tackle men's issues, and if men choose to give grace and understanding, or however they need to do to reach other men to improve those other men and make them healthier, that's fine. I of course wouldn't say the same thing about women going into men's spaces, or like Black people going to solve white people issues or something.
So you agree with kidology then?
Somewhat, but the amount of grace I'm willing to give stops a lot earlier than her.
Wait,
I believe.
So women don't need to have any empathy and sympathy for.
I mean, I think you can have sympathy for your fellow person, friend group, or whoever, but as like a call to action for all women to.
I'm sorry,
it feels inappropriate.
You said a friend group. Incels are fundamentally not a part of any friend group that has anything to do with women. That's why they're
incel is definitely has to do with being involuntarily celibate, which means that you can be a man who has women friends, and they talk about this. They call it the friend zone, and those women
and they hate those women that friend zone them, don't they? They hate. How much do they hate the women that friend zone them? How much is their incel identity about being friend zoned?
Huh?
To what degree do you think their incel dumb is comes from being friend zoned in the first place?
I mean, it depends if you've been friend zoned, or I don't believe that exists, but it's a word. So, and then you go and watch some male tutelage from Fresh and Fit or the whoever, and then you start internalizing that in an unhealthy way. I believe a big portion of it can come from that.
Okay. Do you have do you have empathy and sympathy for misogynistic, women-hating incels?
Oh, wait. Let me put it like this,
No.
because I don't like how you just phrased
That's
that.
my girl. That's
We
my
have
girl.
for example, we talk about Black male and women issues here, right? A lot of it has to do with like femicide or sexual assault in the community or X, Y, or Z. Would you prefer that I simply leave these men to their actions in the community, or would you prefer that I go back into the community and police my community, however that may be? Because I believe the latter.
I would agree, as long as it doesn't negatively affect Black women in any way whatsoever. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
What's your
You said
surprise? What's your surprise?
I just wanted to know, do y'all think men should be allowed to leave their child? Should it be legal for a man to abandon his child? Of course, child support he will be paying, but should it be legal for
It
him?
is legal currently.
Yeah, should it be?
Should it be legal for men to abscond, to leave their children physically?
To leave their child.
Wait. If your question, should there be a law preventing men from leaving their child?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
All right.
Should there be a law preventing people from leaving? You know, I would rather someone like get away from their child than be detrimental to their lives. So, I mean, I wouldn't go as far as to say it should be illegal, because I think that could cause some issues. And just real quick, Annalicia, when you asked about sympathy and empathy towards woman hating women, you know, I don't really have any, but like a part of me more so like feels sorry for them because how could you just grow up and just become a whole adult and not seek any help if you feel this way? Like, no one around you is helping you, no one around you cares enough to put you on a different path in life. It just seems very unfortunate, but I don't think I have like personal
So
like empathy for them.
I'm with you. You and I are right here together. I will say though that I have read the literature, and there are issues. There are some of them are systemic, just in terms of this specific population not accessing the right the right services. So because it's kind of a two-prong, it's a very layered issue, like inceldom, or I guess what the psychological precursors, I guess. And from the literature that I've read, these things were pre-existing, right? Like prior to the social media, sort of not glorifying, but prior to them like really finding communities for them to come out and express their inceldom. Prior to that, they already had kind of antisocial proclivities. They already had misogynistic views about women. So psychologically, there's a lot going on, which makes it difficult for service providers to serve this population. That's the literature that I've read. So I'm still, even that being said, I'm still with you. I'm done. To me, they're dangerous. And I agree. If men want to put themselves in the crossfires, and if they are comfortable with potentially becoming collateral damage, the way that Black women specifically continually have been, then sure, yeah, you can die on the cross, of course, for your people. Then do what you need to do. Sure.
I mean, you're saying die on the cross for my people as if this doesn't have negative consequence for women to leave unchecked as well.
Right, but we're talking about incels who, majority of these individuals are inherently misogynistic. So we don't even have a place in the rehabilitation of an incel. They don't respect women. They don't particularly like women. And that's the baseline. For I'm talking about like an actual incel. I'm not talking about someone who can't get women. Like I think that there are delineations, there are differences. When I'm talking about an incel with these psychological deficits, I'm talking about a group of men who, yeah, I said deficits. Yeah. I'm talking about a group of men who already think very pejoratively about women, especially Black women. So yeah, we don't have a place in the rehabilitation of an incel, even to the extent that we have pity and sympathy and empathy for them. That might be as far as our role in the rehabilitation of a simp, or sorry, not a simp. Well, an incel would go.
When you talk about an internalized misogyny, what separates incel from just the entire male population or the entire population? I think women also have internalized.
Oh, I don't know if I said it already, but they are. Thank you, CJ. They are often like pathologically narcissistic. But I would not necessarily separate them. I was told by therapists that most men in the world are misogynistic. They hold misogynistic views. Society holds misogynistic views. Women hold misogynistic views.
To hold misogynistic views does not mean you're bad. I would say
I didn't say that, but I'm just saying that he's asking how do you separate them. There are extremes, right? Like if it's a spectrum, they're on the extreme end of the spectrum, whereas everybody else kind of falls somewhere in the middle or elsewhere on the spectrum. That's how I would look at it. There are extremes, and incels in that community have extreme ideologies about women, misogyny, self-loathing, and their inceldom in society.
And Petty, you're right. There will absolutely be like negative implications in general if these things aren't addressed. But like as far as like my personal feelings towards, especially just because I don't know anyone like this in real life. So like people that I see maybe online or hear other people talking about, it's just, everyone has their role. And in terms of like where my hard work is going to go or my empathy and things like that, it wouldn't be towards that group. But I'm sure there are people who would be the ones that maybe that group could lean on, but it wouldn't be me. So maybe somebody, but it's not my thing.
And that's why Kay is one of the dogs them, because she knows. Okay, we have to conserve our empathy. We have to conserve that compassion, because there is such thing as empathy and compassion fatigue. There's such thing, and you can sometimes you're giving so much, and your cup is empty at the end of the day. And let's be honest, you are employing empathy towards a group who wouldn't pee on you if you were on fire. Like, that's the reality. And Kay, I have worked in spaces with these type of men, and let me just tell you something. They are not pleasant to share space with they're not pleasant to be around. They are not. So if you're saying that you've never been around them,
not in real life. I've been around them like online.
In real life,
but I've never been around like face to face in real life and people
count your lucky stars, baby, because they are not they're not pleasant to be around. They're simply not. And it's easy to and the thing is, when you are around them, and I'm talking about the ones who are on the extreme end, it's it's easy to see how they can get to those extremes. If you just sit down and have a conversation with them, it's not pleasant. It's not. It starts out as, kind of woe is me. It always starts out with that kind of arc, and you do feel bad initially, and then they go on. And then you realize that something's wrong. unless you are a PhD, no.
See, this whole conversation is really making me realize how much I just don't hang out with like people in general. Like at work, it's very female dominated, in education. Um, so I guess like thinking about the men at my job, they would never be like that. So, my husband's not like that. My family members aren't like that. So I don't know. I guess that's why I never really run into them in real life, but online I definitely do. And I can definitely see how that would be very, very draining to be around or interact with.
Someone asked a question. Who are they going to get sympathy sex from? Pamela and Angela will deal with them. Okay.
Look,
they've been there forever and they'll continue.
I believe
they'll get the lotion and they'll be there.
It's a men's problem that men have to solve. If there needs to be sympathy sex given out, I speak for all men when I say we will put ourselves on the cross, just like you said earlier in the conversation. We will do it. And I promise you, I speak for all men, cis hetero men, when I say this.
Listen, if men are out here, if you guys are willing to cop a plea, if you guys are willing to fall on the sword,
we all are.
Listen, if you want to bring it back to the good old Grease days and help a brother out, that will be. Listen, if you like it, I love it. All I want is for them to stay far away from Black women, they can have all of your empathy and all of your sympathy and whatever that entails.
Okay. You're on mute.
What do you guys think about this question?
I love it. I like it.
A call-in segment.
I like it. It's dynamic. It gives people an opportunity to really engage, and it's interpersonal. I love it.
I like call-in segments as long as then we would have to like wrap it up sooner because I know how long call-in segments can go.
Or maybe we could have an entire show dedicated to or half a show dedicated to that.
Yeah, like some shows.
A smoke show. They can call in with the smoke or the.
If you have smoke or So, but I Petty, unironically, you said that no one kind of pays attention to you or asks you and whoop-de-woo. How am I doing? It was a really rough week at work. Very when I say it was shaking it rough, we had a DOA, we had some ODs. We had to administer CPR on an addict. It's rough. I'm not at the burnout yet, but I'm this close.
Okay, you're talking about you had a rough week at work. I was literally mopping up this look, when kids drink
how do I mute his mic? How do I mute his mic? How do I do that?
When kids are drinking pop and soda, do you know how sticky this is when it's on the floor? And I'm sitting here stepping in it and my boots are going.
You know what? Do you know how it feels to do a bed check at 12 a.m.?
It doesn't feel like stepping in sticky soda. It doesn't. No, I promise you.
To actually find one of your clients who you're responsible for with a needle in their arm and they're gone.
Not as worse as well, let me not say that. I'll drop that.
Yeah. So shelter, it's shaking it rough. I'm almost at the burnout rate. It's been a very, very difficult week, but I'm happy to see all of you guys' faces. That makes me marginally happier. Aww. So yeah, let's get into it. Janitor level 4. Yes, let's get into it. But Petty, do you feel like heard, understood? We asked how your week was, how everything was.
I'm waiting on y'all to answer my surprise question.
Your surprise question about
I just want to get the sound bites of y'all. Should men be allowed to leave their children?
The sound bites.
Right, but leave their children if they don't want to be in their children's lives?
Yep. Child support will still be mandatory.
I don't like the question because you need to reframe the question. You're asking if they should do something that they do currently.
Should there be legal penalty for this? In the same way, a woman who's negligent towards her child, I'm sure will face CPS or some legal ramification. Should it be required that he take care of the children? if it be
All right,
physically
here's
present.
the problem with the law, and it's not because I don't want you to answer. To force someone who cannot take care of a child to take care of a child is akin to abuse. Like, if someone just can't do it, they can't do it. And so, how do you regulate making someone stay?
But also, isn't that different from someone not wanting to? Not being able to and not wanting to are two different things in my mind.
But even
Yeah,
if they
you
don't
have
want
to-
to, that could be harmful. Like, yeah, I agree, Amos.
Listen, I would not want someone to be around if they don't want to be around. That's another kind of problem. That why are you smiling? What are you up to?
People are trying to guess my occupation. I don't like that.
Yeah, I smiled at the comment too because I still don't even know if I don't know.
I think he's a professional. No. So I don't like the question either because A, it happens already, and B, I mean, where I am, there are things that you can do to kind of, you can't force father participation or parentage, but fathers are responsible. Like, they're held responsible to a certain point in Canada, anyways.
Outside of financial financial ways.
I want to say that
It's
it would be
impossible
a case
to
by case.
legislate. It is impossible to legislate, like to make a man be a father. It is impossible.
So I think when fathers are in the picture in any capacity, the system here is pretty good at implementing, or I guess facilitating, either programming or different things to help them become more involved. But again, that's predicated on the desire to be involved. If they have no desire to be involved, that's a different kind of problem. And no, you can't. It can't be done, Petty. So does that answer your question? Are you going to go back to the manosphere now? And is this like a got you moment?
Yeah, I'm gonna clip it. The manosphere will hear all about it. Since we are talking about Black History Month, have we all seen the news recently?
Of course, we've seen TYRE NICHOLS. I want to know.
Let's say it out loud.
The chat. Well, we're gonna get into it. Like, I don't give advice, but
anyway.
You see,
wait, before we move on, I'm going to end the poll. There's been 323 people who voted, and the poll question was: should there be a law to prevent men from leaving their children? And 54% says yes, and 46 says no.
You guys are
like
tripping.
what?
You guys, that's an L chat. I love you guys. That's an L. Okay, that presents a whole host of other problems. You do not want men, specifically Black men. You do not want men to be in a place that
There's no specifically there at all.
You do not want men to be in a space that they have no interest in being in. You don't want men to feel forced to do anything. It's like a caged animal.
My follow-up question was going to be about whether or not, under these laws, would adoption be allowed if parents aren't able to leave their child for whatever reason.
Sorry, what?
I consider these things very similar.
No, sorry.
Can you
pose it again?
The follow-up question, had you said, yes, there should be a law requiring a man to physically take care of his children. My follow-up question was going to be, since I generally apply things equally across gender, should men and women be allowed to give up their child for adoption?
Men and women are allowed.
Yeah, they're also allowed to leave their children.
But he's asking in the alternative, had we said no, they shouldn't be able to leave, then I'm assuming he's saying they should be able to give up the child for adoption by themselves.
That is what I was saying.
That's where you were going?
Yeah.
See, now
I feel like
now
those are
I
similar.
know. Now I'm
Again,
sure
thank
that
you.
you're a part of the manosphere, because that is a weak argument.
It's not a reach.
It's not a weak argument. I don't think it's a weak
I
argument.
if
It's
we're
just that
talking
none of
about
us said that law should exist. So we're all just kind of like, what? But
Yeah.
for the people that did say that law should exist, they would be able to answer that. So, like anyone in the chat that said the law should exist, send in a
and
comment.
don't lie. Listen, don't cop a plea now. If
Put
you
a comment
voted
up.
yes, if you voted yes, we would like to know how that would work, and where adoption comes into play. So yeah, the manosphere definitely. I can see you just look different to me now, Petty. You look different. You look
It's the hair, then the eyebrows. Somebody said.
It's the eyebrows are on fleek. That's not a manospheric. Actually, that is.
Wait, did you get your eyebrow done to go on your day?
I had them plucked and what's it called with the string, and then
you
I cut
thread?
it.
Do you actually thread your eyebrows?
Yeah, I'm away from the screen, but I also tried to cut a slit in one of them to be one of the hip guys, to be one of the boys.
Yeah, don't.
It didn't go well, so I'm gonna stay back here. I'm not gonna get too.
Just fill it
The joke's
in.
on you because I can see it, and don't do it again.
Just fill it in until it grows back. No one will ever know.
I've been asking Prince Petty. I've been asking him what he does to his eyebrows. Okay, I've been asking him for
I'm sorry, like hold
for
up.
like months.
Are we actually objectifying me right now and reducing me to some sexual object for
Yeah,
y'all?
you're just eyebrows. All your eyebrows and hair. That's it.
Mhm.
And we're living for it. I've been asking him for months. What do you do to your eyebrows? Now I come to find out, I'm here like plucking, and you thread. Okay, that's all you had to say. Thank you.
FYI, all I've ever done was combed my eyebrow. I've never gotten it done.
We can tell.
You don't need to do them. Do
So,
not do them,
no.
Venus.
All the people in here
You
calling
look
me
like
a
you do
fruit
them
cake.
already.
All the people in here calling me a fruitcake needs to take that energy over to Petty. That's all I know.
He has the nice. You know what I find? I find men have the nice brows, the nice eyelashes, and it's just not fair.
I get manicures too with the clear polish. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Show me. Let me see. I don't believe you. That's
No.
not a manosphere. That's not manosphere. That's
Let
not
y'all see all this dirt and grime under my fingernails from a hard day of work.
Listen, that is giving pink pill. That's not red pill, my friend.
Anyway, the news, the black, the.
Can we read the super chat first?
Oh yeah, Nels World says.
Thank you.
No, we all know certain people don't mind harming their kids. Just look at the homicide statistics. The end.
Period.
I agree.
Period. Thank you.
Plant Lady M. Who's the plant? Oh, Annalicia.
You guys have no. It's a problem, Lady M. the amount of plants that I have. Once I bring my production to the kitchen and you guys see, oh my, it's a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done with you. You and I are gonna have problems all night tonight, Petty.
So TYRE and Nicholas, are we all?
What did
Did
you
you just say TYRE and Nicholas?
Okay, that's the manosphere. The manosphere struggles with the
It's my accent.
No, that was phonics, and it's TYRE.
Wait, is he talking about TYRE? I thought he was reading a name.
I thought so too. I didn't know what was happening at all.
It's giving manosphere needs phonics.
Well then, Annalisa, you can bring us into the topic since
I absolutely listen. I absolutely will. So if you could just pop that onto the screen for me, Mr. Manosphere Red Pill in the Matrix. Thank you. Okay, guys. This is going to be a heavy one. I'm sure that we're all going to have differing opinions, but I want to hear all of your opinions. So put everything in the chat. With respect to TYRE Nichols, it's painful enough that we had to see police beat TYRE Nichols to death when he wasn't fighting back. But when you realize he was only 2 minutes away from his home and only 145 pounds because he suffered from Crohn's disease, it's truly devastating. He leaves behind a 4-year-old son. Okay. I think this was the first one. On January 7th, 2023, 5 Black police officers, from the Memphis Police Department severely beat 29-year-old TYRE Nichols during a traffic stop in Memphis, Tennessee, just 2 minutes away from his home. Nichols was 6'3". Oh, wow. But weighed only 145 pounds because he suffered from Crohn's disease. Nichols was hospitalized in critical condition and died there 3 days later. So,
Wait, there's one more. There's supposed to be one more slide there.
Oh, come on, Red Pill. The officer stopped Nichols for alleged reckless driving, pulled him from his car, and used pepper spray and a taser on him. During the incident, Nichols managed to break away. When officers caught up with Nichols, they beat him for about 3 minutes, punching and kicking him in the head and striking him on the back with a baton while he was restrained. Released footage of the traffic stop showed Nichols never fought back against the officers. So, TYRE Nichols was
Oh, I didn't know if you wanted to read that, but
I'm not gonna go into that. But what I will say is, this is obviously a tragedy. I don't want to be the one to say this. Oh God, it's gonna be me.
No, it doesn't have to be you. Like, I can go first then if you're gonna say.
Okay, go ahead. Yes, please, God, go.
All right, so sorry. It is obviously, to me, this is obviously a tragedy. And I think I'm trying to understand from which point to look at it, because I think the academics, as you have seen, do not believe in agency, right? I'm using one person to speak for the academics. So there's this idea that agency doesn't exist. If you're in that school of thought, then this is white supremacy. And that would be the progressive approach to this dialogue. If you're in the conservative, because it's Black men, you're not going to back the blue because you don't have to anymore because they're Black police officers. So they're blaming a culture of violence. So again, taking away personal agency from the people who engaged in the behavior. I think all of this can be true, but my approach is to talk about the people involved and also the police system to which they are attached. And my instincts are telling me that this was not just a random traffic stop as it is being reported. You don't beat someone in the way that they do. I don't know if you guys watch the video it's released. I did. They literally yanked him from the car, pepper sprayed him, started beating him. He ran. They caught him, beat him again. He fell to the ground. They lifted him up and continued to beat him. He was on the ground. They stomped him. Like, this felt very specific. Like, you are not that mad at anyone. And so in my mind, there's no reports on this, but my mind is telling me there's something more. But how do you look at someone who shares your skin tone? Like, if we're talking about white supremacy and white people, white police officers going after Black people, we can have that conversation. But it seems odd to me that you would look at someone who shares in your identity and like do not have any care in the world for kind of how you're treating that person. So that's how I'm going to start off. I don't know from which framework people are looking from it from, but I think the police, all 5 of them, there was a 6th one who was white who pepper sprayed him in the beginning. He's not being charged because he didn't catch up with them and help in the actual beating. But it's just bad. And I don't understand how we are talking. I mean, I get how we're talking about white supremacy because that's all they do, people want to do. But I also don't understand how we are not really focusing on these men and kind of what it says about us and how we value each other. They're mad because they had to run out of shape.
Lady M, she needs to go in timeout. So guys, after everyone sort of gives their input, I would like to pose questions to the panel and also the chat and you guys can answer them however you feel. Because they're kind of tricky questions, and you guys might not like me after this. I'm going to be honest. But I have questions, and I'd like to see if you guys would like to engage them. So, Themis, your perspective is that this is it was personal, or there was a personal element to it.
I don't know. My perspective, this is horrible. I'm not sure how men can look at each other and attack each other like that. I think there is a policing problem generally. I care deeply about the militarization of police, and what that has taken place over time. But I'm not about defund the police. Like, that's not what I'm saying. So I have a problem there. But I also recognize that if you're talking about white supremacy and how it infiltrates the mind and blah, 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 I don't mind that discussion. I still have a problem with 5 Black men looking at another Black guy and like beating him. Like I don't know how that's demonic. So my perspective is that it's demonic. Separate from that is something that is not supposed to be a part of this because I cannot verify it. But my instincts tell me that this was not a regular traffic stop. I think they went after this person, and I think there is something more. There's absolutely no reason for you to beat someone like that. Nothing you tell me about what he has done would give me reason to believe this is true. I cannot verify that this is true, but something tells me that this is more. Like, something tell me this is more.
I have to say, I can see how Black men can brutalize other Black men. I think that we've seen it throughout history chronically, and it's.
Wait, no.
Oh no! I know what you meant, and I understand the kind of that visceral impact that's seeing that, conceptualizing that, and understanding that. I understand how that can affect people. Maybe I'm desensitized. Maybe I don't have empathy. That's not true. I do. But I don't it I can see something like that happening. I can see, yeah, it is ultimate enigma. Themis, you are such an idealist. Those dudes are evil, self-hate. I do believe that there are obviously, not all police are bad. That's my position. But you're going to have bad police officers, just like you're going to have bad people. And I think that when you have bad police officers, innately bad police officers, we're talking about their ability, their capacity to enforce or to engage in gang violence with a badge. So we're talking about a level of violence. We're talking about a level of not ubiquitous, but they're able to operate in the world.
Wait. I'm sorry. I'm never going to do this. I promise I will step back after this.
No.
So you believe that this was like a traffic stop and they actually got mad and beat him? Like, I can't conceive of that. Like the way they beat him felt personal. Like, I watched it and I cried a little. Like,
I can see both. I could see both possibilities as being a reality. That's me. I can see, and again, I could be completely desensitized. Maybe I do have burnout. Maybe this is like, maybe I'm burnt out from like society. I don't know. But yeah, I can see both possibilities being a reality.
in the beginning,
at one point, did he run?
Yeah, but in the beginning, when they yanked him from the car, like yanked him from the car and like pepper sprayed him, and I don't know if the taser hit him, but they tried to tase him, the white guy, and then he ran. I would have I don't run from police, but if you yank me like that, and the kind of aggression was immediate, like look, I don't know. Maybe men do this, and I'm just like the snowflake in somewhere up in a mountain, never coming down to ever notice this. But it felt like very personal. Like I just when you beat someone and they fall on the ground and you continue to like stomp them and beat them and hoist them up and then continue, that does not like even if you're angry with someone, at what point do you like, I don't know. I just, I'm sorry, I cannot, even if the judge comes out and all of the investigation comes out and there is nothing there, like maybe I'm just gonna live in cognitive dissonance. Like maybe that's where I'm gonna stay, because like I just cannot think that people are that evil and demonic. Like I don't know how to like cope with that.
Or Themis said he cannot live in a world where people are that. Themis, some people are. Okay, what do you think?
I didn't watch the video, but they weren't in like uniform or anything, right?
No, they were.
They were in uniform and everything, and they just like stopped him. I agree with Themis that it does not seem like, even for horrible people, and even in like other situations we've seen with the police and things that they do, I don't know, it definitely feels like it was personal to me, just based on things I've read and seen about the situation. And since everyone was of the same race, like it comes off differently to me, because if a police officer is a racist and they're doing something to someone because they're racist, it's easy to understand, like, okay, you know, this person hates this person, they're a racist, they're, you know, this or that. But the police officers, they probably felt like they were going to be protected under the, you know, I can get away with whatever I do situation. And I mean, I don't know, there were rumors about one of the officers, like, and TYRE dating the same person or something. But I think his dad said that wasn't true. But I don't know. It seemed personal to me too. It was just a lot. And I didn't even watch the video.
Can we read the super chats to be on, like, so we don't, sorry.
No, go ahead. Oh, do you want to do super
Yeah,
chat?
Miss Deed says, from HBCU bands to fraternities to gang initiations to police, I don't think beatings are normative of Black male culture across class levels.
So the one thing, Tuesday, Janae, thank you guys for the super chats. This unit's Scorpion unit has done this a lot. I'm not surprised. The specific unit has been terrorizing that community. That's also the information that I received, that the police captain also has let a lot of very insidious, and for lack of a better term, degenerate behavior kind of proliferate in that unit. So I heard it was over TYRE's baby mother, Katie. Can't confirm. So this to me is or at least shares some parallels with Rodney King. So I'm not sure if everyone is familiar. Maybe they're not familiar. You guys are young. But this to me shares a lot of similarities, or at least some parallels with Rodney King. And that's why I don't think that it is, kind of beyond the realm of possibility, or even beyond the realm of likelihood, that this is something that that does happen. And again, we're talking about police officers. We're talking about a gang, essentially, if they will themselves to be that, to become a gang, or if they will themselves to operate in that manner, they're impervious. Usually, they're impervious to the legal ramifications that the rest of us, the rest of us will have to face. And I think that. And I don't want to call this a conspiracy theory, or because that kind of trivializes the whole thing. But this happens. This is something that has, as evil and demonic and inhumane as it is, it happens. And I don't think that we need a whole lot of narrative for police to operate in the way that they've operated. We've seen it with Rodney King. We saw it with Trayvon Martin. We've seen it throughout history. And since the advent of social media, we've seen it play out in front of our eyes. So I just can you compare this with the Rodney King beating? I don't know when she sent that, but thank you, CJ. I compare it. I just see some parallels between that and the Rodney King situation. So yeah, the highest order. We're talking about these are real gang. Like if they wanted to be and operate as such, they could be. I mean, they're untouchable.
So what happens? Because a lot of people who holds authority accountable, checks and balances should be there. Afro Butterfly, but there was a notion at the height of the BLM movement that Black people should police our own neighborhoods. I didn't think this was like the best solution because I think if there's an issue, there's an issue, and just putting a Band-Aid over it with blackface is not going to help. But does this mean that shouldn't be the case? Like, how does this inform the way that we view police officers generally and Black police officers specifically? Are they any different, same? Are we blaming the officers? Are we blaming the system? Like, I don't know what framework you guys are coming from, because I'm like agency. These people are bad. But I also see a bigger policing problem with just the aggression. So that's where I come off. But are you guys racism? Are you guys
agency and autonomy, mother effer?
I am conflicted because first I heard about this on Instagram, where I get most of my news. But the first thing I saw is that before I even saw the video or anything like that, before it was even out, is that it showed his picture and it said he had passed away after being beaten by 5 officers, and they've been fired and they're about to charge them. And I'm like, this must have been extremely brutal, because I've never seen immediately after something happening, officers about to be charged and fired. So I knew that this must have been bad. And then I swiped to the next photo and it showed the 5 officers. And I said, oh, and it was, again, my confliction comes from, I believe in personal agency. So I do believe they're all responsible for what they did, regardless of what systems or whatever may have influenced them. There needs to be penalty and justice for what you did. I do think there is a system in the police regarding brutality, and I don't know that I would call this Black culture as much as I would call it police culture. I don't think this is distinct to Black police officers, but it's difficult to have a conversation about this for me, because I'm trying to acknowledge with people when conversing that it felt like, because these people were Black, justice was handed out like that. Like, you're talking about even the white officer who was there participating is like, is he not facing charges, or they're late to charge him, as opposed like
he's fired currently, no charges yet.
And then on the other hand, I have people, it feels like, pretending that race is not a factor in this, and maybe race isn't a factor in this, but it does seem like it to me. And I'm trying to have that conversation without being dismissive of the fact that these people have individual accountability, and I do want them to be punished, but I also want it to be acknowledged the speed at which they were punished compared to what I citation needed, what I feel like happens with white police officers. But yeah, I do think it's police culture. Like, it's similar to white police brutality. The officers, they're saying, have violent history with no reprimandation, no policing of the police, they don't face any repercussion from a history of like violence and brutality up until here we are with TYRE NICHOLS. So, and then of course there's the attempt, like Themis said, to make this external. Hopefully, at some point, we get to look at the Fox News, the Jason Whitlock, who was saying this isn't this is we shouldn't look at those 5 black men who just murdered another. We should look at black mothers for whatever reason. Black single mothers was on his mind when he and that's what I hear, even when it's not about black single mothers. That's what I hear when I hear people try to make it external and remove the officers from it. Even though, like I said, I agree, there are some systemic reasons this might happen, both black culturally and police, I guess, to the extent the police have a culture. But it does feel weird for people to completely remove them from this situation and place uh, white supremacy or black single mothers or whatever system they try to place at the feet of this man's death.
It's actually very funny because, like, the black single mother blame is literally the same as the blame the system. It is taking responsibility away from the individual. I wouldn't say black single mother, I would have said absentee father, but we can do that. If let's the super chats. I don't want them to get stale.
Nose World says they should have not grabbed him out the car, period. It's a freaking traffic stop. Some people are the new white supremacists. It's about exerting power that they wish they had, period.
Thank you.
Yeah, like we are not going to pretend that police don't have their own culture, of course, and it's difficult to circumvent, but they absolutely have their own culture, and a lot of it is saturated in brutality and the abuse of authority and power. We know that.
Gia Homage says it's like the gun trace task force in Baltimore. Units go rogue, the taxpayers foot the bill, and hundreds of convictions are overturned. A mess.
Thank you, Gia. I would agree with this. It's difficult because on the one hand, the Black community really struggles with getting justice, or at least feeling vindicated, feeling as though justice is being served. So in this instance, when justice has just knocked on our door swiftly, like we blinked and they were charged. I'm sure that there are variables that contributed to that. I haven't. Maybe there are variables, but at the same time, that is what we would have wanted, right? We want the people who are responsible for this atrocity to be held accountable. Again, not single mothers. Shut the hell up with that. Not you, I'm saying in general. But we want the people who are responsible for this atrocity, we want them to be held accountable. It's just difficult because they all are Black men. Well, it's not difficult, actually. I'm sorry. It's difficult maybe for some people. It's not difficult for me. I think that justice, due process, that's what I think needs to happen. And yeah, it's conflicting, but at the end of the day, they need to be held responsible for what they did. And however quickly it comes, however much that has to do with white supremacy, I don't know. I don't care, actually. Yeah, I don't care.
We can talk about the Whitlock comments, but I think my stream Friday is going to specifically address that. And I think we have to be willing to acknowledge that these men who will say it's single mother's fault, we have to accept that they're not leaders, right? They don't know what it means to be accountable. They don't know what it means to be responsible. At every turn, they will blame the mothers, the women. And it's fascinating because, like, I've always been a Christian, but I kind of like stepped out of the Bible or whatever. Now I'm like revisiting it. And it's interesting because even the story of Adam, by the way, I'm a la carte Christian because I'm picking and choose. You're not a leader because you're a man. It's just, I will never accept that framework. That don't make sense to me. But even with Adam, where Eve ate the apple and then brought it to Adam, when God came and said, what's up? What's happening? God said, what's up? Adam tried to blame Eve, and God was like, yeah, no. I told you, you are the man. How are you blaming it? And if you are thinking about patriarchy, Whitlock and all of them are like touting Christianity, and they are like, I am the man, I am the leader, but blaming the women in a community for how bad the children are. It feels very disingenuous. I don't feel like these people are Christians in any meaningful way, but also the women who are Christian saying the Bible is not patriarchal. That don't make sense because it is. But I just find it odd that these men are unwilling to take accountability, even when the men are the ones causing the harm. Like these are 5 Black men who executed essentially another Black man. And you're saying, oh, blame the baby mama culture because baby mothers and women cannot raise children. Where are these dads? Is it Mary? Is this a story of Mary where all Black people in the Black community are, if through some kind of immaculate conception? Like, I don't understand it. So I'm gonna drag on Friday. So.
I'm not gonna go into it too much. I just have a few questions that I just to spin, and I don't even think that Friday you would get there. But I do have to ask you guys a question with respect to Jason Whitlock, single mothers. What I will say though is, again, Jason Whitlock blaming single mothers. This is like, it's just a Tuesday. It's a Monday. Like, this to me is, it's business as usual with Black men. Black men see other Black men in an extremely, on a public stage, on the world stage, Black men are engaging in aberrant, violent, degenerate behavior, and there's absolutely no justification. So their image is being charted on. Their image is the way that, of course, Black men are going to come out and try to diverge your attention from what's happening, because they understand representation. They're not great with it, but they do understand that they don't want the world to see these cops and Black men and that they're synonymous, that behavior is somehow innate to all Black men, especially when we're talking about police, who are among, they're some of the most respected members of our society. That's the reality. We're talking about Black men who are looking to, it's damage control. And of course, Black women are collateral damage. They always have been. And unless Black women straighten up and fly right, they always will be. Black men, it's the same racket. It's the same old bull. And the question that I wanted to ask you guys, because for me, it's interesting that, and I do understand, TYRE Nichols is a victim. He was a victim. And
I don't. When someone start off that way, I just know I'm not gonna like the question.
You might not like me after this, and I'm okay with that. But I have to be honest. I have to. I think that when you throw single mothers into the ring, and people forget that single mothers are in my mind, single mothers are victims. I see single mothers as some of the most, not that I see them, statistically they are some of the most vulnerable populations on the planet. So they are, in many ways, they are victimized. They are victimized and brutalized in communities. Systemically, we can see this at the systemic level. So it's interesting that Black men, they're able to be victims, right? Like, we see a victim in TYRE Nichols, and rather than just kind of acknowledging that, yeah, he was a victim to police brutality and potentially corruption and abject abuse of power, he points to single mothers who are also victims.
Would you disagree with me earlier? Would you Would you, when I said that I feel like this is a police issue, had those officers been white, I still feel like he wouldn't have blamed baby mama culture in the black community. But because it's on a conservative panel, I do
Right.
believe he would have definitely blamed any and everything except for the 5 officers who did it.
Right.
You disagree?
No, you're saying that if the officers were white, Jason Whitlock would have done the conservative song and dance?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay.
You were asking a question, I thought.
No, the question that I want to ask you guys, because blaming single mothers again, so the direction that I go in, it's kind of a way of victim blaming. If you're going to blame if you're going to blame single mothers, you're also pointing to a vulnerable demographic who are victimized in many ways. So my question is there a way to, well, not even that. Can Black women ever be treated as or seen as victims in the Black community or society at large? That's one of my questions. What would it take for the Black community to adopt a new way of understanding and addressing single mothers who are, again, I see them as being victims of circumstance, being victims at the systemic level. Most of them are living in poverty. They are the most vulnerable group of people on the planet. And the Black community just doesn't, I mean, they don't care. Black men don't care. Black politicians don't care. Black conservatives definitely don't care. So will Black women ever, single mothers, will they ever be anything more than just single mothers? And the reason that those 5 Black officers killed TYRE NICHOLS, will single mothers and Black women ever be seen as anything outside of that?
So I will separate for myself this into 2 questions. One being, do I personally think that Black women should be allowed to be victims? Absolutely, especially since, as you just described, in a lot of situations they are. How do we get the community to that? I actually don't know. I don't know.
There is a preoccupation with saving Black men. And in an effort to save Black men, we have the Jason Whitlocks of the world blaming Black women. And we have the good Black men who are cuddling the manosphere, ignoring Black women. I, like Prince Petty, agree that Black women are victims, can be victims. I don't think Black single mothers are the most disadvantaged. Add a bunch of other criteria to that, and yes, they would be. But I recognize that they occupy a very hard position. And I think the preoccupation with saving the Black community, i.e., Black men, comes at the disadvantage of Black women. And until we can acknowledge, like, this does not happen on mainstream platform, and it won't happen in the Black community. Until we can separate that which is systemic from that which is personal and about agency, we will never get to it. So
that's part of the problem, Themis. That's part of the problem.
Yeah, I think we need to recognize that Black men, even under the system, even if, no matter how terrible we want to characterize or live in situation under the system, we're inflicting a tremendous amount of harm on people around us. And I don't think there is any real urgency at all in addressing the harm we are causing intra-racially, not inter, but intra. And I don't know how to, like, I spoke to FD the other day, and I think he's a good guy. I think he is someone who might want to actually do good. I think he's a smart person. And it does bother me that even him, who represents the top of the Black men, in my mind, criterion, he's willing to ignore. I don't know if he's ignoring, but when faced with a potential for pushing back, I think Black women is just sort of tangential to the main issue that he needs to help with, and that's Black men. I don't know. I don't know what to do about that. Like,
I'm sorry. When has the Black community not been hyper focused on Black men's issues, Black men's plight, Black men's victimhood?
Wait. There is a conflation, and I don't know if I made this clear. There is a conflation with saving the Black community, which means saving the Black man. So,
right, so again, when has the community not been invested in saving Black men?
No, I think they have been.
They have always been. And
what I'm saying is they have, but it was under the guise of we need to protect the Black community. The Black community is under attack, and for centuries in this country, that is true.
No, I don't think that. I disagree. I think that it was focused on men. We live in a patriarchy, and I think that men and what they potentially represent in patriarchy or in a patriarchal system, I think that maybe, no, yeah, sorry. I disagree with you, Themis. I don't think that, I do not think that the idea was we're going to, by helping Black men, I think that the Black community has only ever invested in Black men, ever, only from the
But I don't know where we're disagreeing.
No, well, because you're saying that in an attempt to save the community, and I disagree. I think that it was always I don't think that Black women have ever recognized the help that they need.
No. Wait, let me just be clear. I'm not saying there was an attempt to help Black women in helping the Black community. I'm saying the guise of community aid was about Black men. But it was never, we are going to help Black men. It was, we're going to help the Black community. I think it is recent understanding of that put us to where we are now, which is helping the Black community means helping Black men and hiding Black male degeneracy and not talking about how harmful Black men are or their abuse in the Black community, SA in the Black community. That's what I'm saying.
So I don't think, okay. I don't know how to articulate this. I think that Black women are in a very tricky situation. I think that, so separate from what you're saying, I think that Black women are in a very tricky and precarious situation in that they have rendered themselves in a community in which they are the backbone and the strongest piece of fabric in the tapestry of a community. They've rendered themselves invisible. They've rendered, even when I look throughout history, when I sort of weigh out a Trayvon Martin, a George Floyd, a Rodney King, and the attention that those cases got versus not just attention, but support versus like a Megan Thee Stallion or Breonna Taylor. I think Black women have rendered themselves invisible. And I think that their capacity to be victims, I think that that's also been rendered invisible. I don't think that Black women are in a position now as a result of, I guess, everything that you just said. So I'm kind of done with Black men in I don't know. I don't know if it's an overcorrection that needs to happen where we kind of like ignore Black men, or put the Harry Potter invisibility cloak on them and their victimhood and victim pathology, and focus on Black women. I don't know how to correct it, but I think that Black women are invisible.
I think that. Oh, sorry. I think that outside of gender wars and racism, that reasonable people could think that Black women who have been victimized are victims. I think that a lot of the time when people see a Black woman and say, oh, she's not a victim, she did this and that, it usually falls into the categories of gender war situations or racist situations.
No.
I think for most reasonable people that aren't doing either of those things, that they could see a Black woman who is being victimized or has been victimized as a victim, because it just, when you said like rendered ourselves, what did you say? You said Black women invisible. It made me think about what Themis was saying earlier as it relates to helping the Black community being equal to, in people's minds, equal to helping Black men, because just historically, like, we read about and hear about these different things that were like targeting Black men, right? Like if we're talking about, let's just say like the war on drugs or something like that. So Black men, like in our community, I think a lot of people look at Black men as under attack. So then a lot of the energy and resources of the community go to, trying to stop the violence against Black men.
At what point was the war on drugs? That didn't affect Black women?
No. She's not saying that.
I understand. And I understand that this is also in the minds of others, right? And this is also in the imaginations and the minds. I understand what you're saying. But this is so frustrating.
Annalisa, what you're advocating is not bad. I don't think it is. I think the sociological framework is radical self-determination, right? And if youth for Black women, are you saying no to that?
No, I'm saying I think that's a good first framework. Of all, when Kay said that reasonable people can see Black women as victims, I disagree. I think it depends on how she presents. I think it depends.
Well, then that person's not reasonable. I'm talking about reasonable.
Right. But I'm trying to contrast that with Black men who they can be junkies, they can be fiends, and they're allowed to be victims. They're allowed to be like, and none of those things matter, right? Like you see somebody like George Floyd.
I mean, we see people. Are you talking about amongst Black people or just in general?
I'm saying globally. I will honestly, that's the hubris in me tonight. I'm gonna say globally, Black men can come from the most degenerate disposition and background, but if they're brutalized by police, they don't have to present in a way that a Black woman would have to present to be taken seriously.
Now, objectively, that's not true because
but it is true, and we saw it with Meg Thee Stallion. We saw it with
No. The thing that I'm saying is not true is that, I mean, just being objective. These are not my feelings. These are things we could look up, talk to people, look at the, I don't know, things on the news that have been said over the past few years.
Where do you think their ideas come from, Kay?
No, the thing
that the chat is saying, can Kay finish her thought? And then people are saying they absolutely agree with Annalisa. So go ahead, Kay. Sorry, I'm refereeing.
Sorry, W chat. So I'm sorry, Kay. I love you. Sorry.
No problem. So I was just saying that it's not true that Black men, because Black people in general will be dragged if there is something about their character, said in the news. Let's say if they were a victim of police brutality or if they were a victim of whatever. I've seen this happen. We've all seen this happen. Look at them, 5 years ago, they were arrested for this, or they did this or that, to try to take away some of the maybe sympathy that people might have for victims of, let's even say, police brutality specifically. Like, we've seen this happen where people try to bring up people's personal lives to make it so that they're not seen as victims. I mean, objectively, like, this has happened. So I'm just saying that when we're thinking about Black women specifically, I get that within certain circles, or maybe online in certain spaces, or just even in general, like I said earlier, if it has to do with racism and stereotypes, like, oh, that Black woman is doing those things, so, or she's a single mom, so therefore she deserves, da, da, da. Like, I get that that happens, it absolutely does, but I wouldn't consider people that think like that to be reasonable people, because they're driven by preconceived notions based on either gender-based stereotypes, or some kind of dislike for a certain gender. That's what I meant when I was talking about gender wars,
No,
or racism.
But Kate, how much of our subculture, because what you're describing, right, like the gender, sort of the conflict between genders, how much of that subculture do you think influences the overall culture in North America? Because I know for a fact that a lot of the image, or a lot of the imagery that the broader society and culture comes from our subculture. It comes from our imagination, our ideologies, our perceptions. So if the perceptions of Black women from the Black community are that they're baby mothers, that they're pump and dumps, that they're whatever it is that Black men have been saying for millennia, as soon as they stepped off the plantation, mind you, you don't think that, like, generationally, you don't think that these are even for reason.
No. I'm defending Black men now for once. It is absolutely incorrect to say Black men started.
I never said that they started it. I did not say that they started it. But are they the right hand? The left hand and the right hand, they wash each other, right? And I never said that they started it.
But you said when they walked off the plantation something.
Right. I'm saying, I'm hyperbolically saying that as soon as Black men had the opportunity to engage in white supremacy in a way that subjugated and oppressed Black women, they did. And that's a fact. They did. But that's fine. We can agree to disagree.
I'm not. It's not. I think we have misused our power in the way that we have it now in relation to Black women. Yes. But I think the analysis is doing something very fundamentally wrong.
I think that that's probably the reason that Black men are going to continue in the position that they're in, and Black women are going to continue to be Casper the Ghost, i.e. no one sees them, because systemic analysis, like, at what point does systemic analysis take a back seat? Because
this is my problem. Oh my God. So this is on the progressive side, all they do is system analysis. It feels like you want to completely ignore systemic analysis.
No, I don't want to completely ignore it, but engaging in it has not been productive for the Black community.
No, I don't think you should. I'm not telling you should. When I said radical self-determination as an approach or lens for Black women, I would never tell a Black woman that they need to engage in any kind of analysis outside of self-preservation. I would never do that. I'm just saying that even when you're doing that, I guess you don't have, Black men aren't careful when they're online talking. I am trying to be careful about what I give to Black men as sort of, you are the cause of this. And I think there is an issue when we become hyperbolic with language. And so that's all I'm cautioning. I'm not going to say you're wrong. I think if you're advocating for Black women to step into the light and not be invisible, which I agree with you. Black women are largely invisible when it comes to their plight intraculturally. Even the writing on Black femicide highlights that it is very difficult to talk about Black femicide because you now have to turn the camera on Black men and their actions within the community. So I don't disagree with you. You and I have not disagreed. I just think I think when we start making prescriptions, one, we have to be careful. But two, I think if you're advocating for something for Black women, you should do it full throated, like you should do it. But I'm just gonna say I'm not gonna be inaccurate. Like I'm not about to be inaccurate.
I don't think that I've made any prescriptions. I'm not making any prescriptions because truly, like that's putting the cart before the horse before the carriage, or I'm not making prescriptions. But what I'm saying is, and I understand hyperbole. It's a fine line of gradation when we're having these conversations, and the importance of being historic, the historic acuity, or the systemic analysis, and making sure that the interplay, or making sure that all of these things are sort of hitting on cylinders, and everything's working together simultaneously. I just don't know how beneficial that has been to not just Black women, but to Black men. Because I mean, like, at what point? I like, you know what?
Can we step back, read some super chats, and then get back in it?
Yeah, because I had so many more questions, and then it veers into something else. But CJ, thank you for the $15. It may have been personal, but I see this as a policing problem. So do I. All powerful institutions, police, prison guards, military, risk abusing powers. Black officers are not immune. Yeah, no one is impervious. Autumn Blue Rose, love you. Yes, new Black women. Oh. Lady M, they beat this man like they hated themselves. He's a whipping boy. They probably believe they're ones who deserve the punches. Made him an effigy. Thank you, Lady M. Nail's World. Thank you, Nail. Is it Nail or Nally? Okay, sorry. That's just thank you, but I'm just bony. They deflected instead of taking accountability. They try to remove themselves from situations they have created. They do this to their own children. Thank you. They do.
I only put this up there just because. Read that though.
Single mothers are volunteers, sir.
So this is no. This person is advocating for what Sinji's advocating for. He just don't know it yet.
So basically, she was right. I miss Themis being the main character. I want to hear.
Sorry. I just see that comment.
Breezington, thank you for the super chat. I don't think we should center Black women on Black single motherhood, as it creates a diversion from the real issue, which is what agents of chaos like Jason Whitlock was trying to do. I disagree with this.
Agreed.
Concerned, just got here. You're also beautiful. So are you, Concerned. Go melanin. Don't have a lot, but thank you. Thank you, CJ, again. It's all a call to traditional beliefs that women should not lead, that single motherhood is a byproduct of a failed intentional feminist agenda that is anti-man, blah, blah, blah. So single moms aren't victims. Right. So I agree with CJ. I agree.
Thank you, CJ. Jay.
Gia Homed. The demisogyny causes the Black community to continue to double down that only a man can save us. I don't think you can extricate the misogyny from Christianity. No, you cannot. Put that Bible down is what you can do. Themis was feeling himself on that one. Breezington, in my opinion, we should center the system that allows for people like TYRE and become victims of the state. Cops of all races have highest rates of abuse with Black citizens. Be married to a Black woman, seeing what she has to go through and deal with an overall understanding. I don't see enough people standing up for Black women the way they do others. Yeah, they don't, because Black women are invisible and their plight is non-existent. Marina light years. Wow, Annalicia. Themis, you have such good skin. He does. It's a disgrace.
Good.
Shanae Young, thank you. Not Kane Themis cuddling. I'm with Annalicia. Listen, you might not be with me by the end, okay? I'm shaking it rough. It's gonna
We're
get
just trying to be
cuddling.
exact with our wording, and we don't like to make generalizations.
They don't like to generalize. I like to be hyperbolic. I like to generalize. Okay, thank you, Breezington, again. Due to the existing white supremacy social hierarchy that favors patriarchy, Black men are favored over Black women in society in places where it doesn't threaten the order. But as a member of the Black community, they are similarly effed. I disagree.
I agree.
I agree too.
I disagree.
Wait, sorry.
Divine Diva. I can't recall who said it, but media keeps showing the 5 cops in street clothes instead of uniforms, as if to separate them from the blue. No, they were in uniforms, boo. They were in the blue. Waiting for that comment to be read.
I don't know. That was the last one. All right. So back to the argument. You said Black women cannot be victims. We were arguing. Kay's position is that normal people can't see Black women as victims.
I don't know. What is a normal person? I mean, most
reasonable people.
Reasonable.
Yeah,
but reasonable people are not. They're not impervious to the effects of, like,
if your mind has been overtaken with stereotypes and tropes about Black women, you're not being reasonable.
It doesn't have to even be overtaken, and they don't have to be tropes. Even in the medical field, Black women have barriers, and there are like actual systemic issues where medical professionals believe that Black women's anatomy or biology or physiology is somehow different. Like, I think reasonable people make mistakes. I think that reasonable people can be misled. I think that reasonable people can act like idiots. I'm a reasonable person, and sometimes I'm a straight up a-hole, and sometimes I'm uninformed, and I have to like recalibrate.
Are you a reasonable person, Annalise?
I'm a very reasonable person, but again, I'm a dynamic human. I'm reasonable, but I'm also I'm hyperbolic as well. So
you can be reasonable. Okay, let me rephrase. You can be a reasonable person, right, but you don't have to be reasonable in every situation. If you are not reasonable in a situation because you are just very biased against Black women, then I'm not going to be like, oh, yeah, you're a reasonable person. Like, no, I'm not talking about you. You are not one of the reasonable people. I'm talking about if you are reasonable as it relates to the topic being discussed.
I think that maybe we define reasonable people. Maybe we define it differently. I think that the layman or I think people in generally are, everyone is sucked up in the cultural hegemony that is the vacuum in the world. I think that no one is like, I think that that's the world that we live in. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's the Matrix. Maybe I need to take the red pill. Maybe I'm in a Matrix. And
by the way, you and I did not disagree up until we started talking about Black men doing something with the image pre Jim Crow. I was gonna say Black men didn't have the power to do anything with any image. But given power with social media, they by and large started degrading Black women's image, and by extension their own. I mean, they were not quite sure about their own yet, but they will quickly
because they're stupid. It's not our fault that they're stupid, and they don't understand that if you're disrespecting literally the being you come from, you're disrespecting yourself. They're just stupid. I don't know what else to say.
You said you had no questions.
I don't understand how you can be claim to be a leader but blame everything on somebody else. I think that part.
Well, I can explain this to you. The angry man did a great explanation. He said, we want the accolades and we want to be the man, but we don't want the responsibility that comes with it. He said that on Destiny's live stream. So that.
Yeah, and that makes no sense. And then to be confused when someone doesn't see you as a leader, when you're constantly not trying to take responsibility for anything. Yeah, I don't understand how people do that.
So regarding Black women not being able to be victim, do you think this is a race specific issue?
Well, we live in a misogynistic world. So I think women generally, but I think in terms of a hierarchy, I think that women are at the bottom. I think
No. The patriarchy makes women a victim with the exclusion of Black women. So I would agree with you there. So by and large, the white woman tier will send men to their death. And we know this because we have historical evidence of it.
that I agree with. I agree with that.
Goldman Sachs and Stacey Abrams have advised us regarding leadership in the group. The violence TYRE endured was at the hands of his brothers, 14 minutes of it. Black women stand down, Black men need to address Black men. The end.
Ultimate enigma. Good luck with that. Black men addressing Black men? In what world?
I mean, in some ways, that was Black men addressing Black men. I mean, unfortunately.
So to extend the question further, the kind of dichotomy where the woman is a victim, but also
sorry, go ahead.
But also the man perpetrating the crime is a victim. Is that exclusive to the Black community, or is this also not race specific?
Come again?
The idea of the man being the perpetrator of something, but being also victimized, like Annalicia expressed, Black men are in this position of being. Is this something that's exclusive to the Black community?
So patriarchy does not work if it's not reified by the people who engage in it. And so you have to set some kind of rule that will punish certain people. Now, if you have money, you can pay your way out of punishment a lot of the times, but white men would be punished for behaving poorly in the patriarchy if it would upset the patriarchy to not. So for Black men, I think there's an issue because for patriarchy to exist, there needs to be a buy-in. It is women, you stay at home, you do these things, and men will provide. The trade-off is now you are controlled, right? That is generally how it works. Within the Black community, the man does not have to be the provider to want to access patriarchal power within said community. And therein lies a problem that will cause a rebellion. That kind of patriarchy is unsustainable. So do white men get punished when they act poorly at other groups of men? Depends on what the action is and who it's against. If it's against each other, if it's against the women, there will be some level of punishment. But I don't think within our community, we are protecting bad behaviors. The men are asking for submission, but are not providing anything. They claim to be the leader, but at every turn refuse to take responsibility or any kind of accountability for the community. That is unsustainable. You can only trick a group of women so long to follow you if you're not showing any kind of leadership or accountability or willingness to sacrifice for these people. They're not going to trade their freedom for you. And I think that's going to end. Answer your question, yes, there's punishment to some extent so that we can legitimize the system. If you didn't punish man in a patriarchy, the system is going to obviously not be legitimate. Within the Black community, there's an unwillingness to punish people who do bad things, and there's an unwillingness to actually take responsibility. So patriarchy is hard to exist within the Black community because Black women aren't going to buy into a system where the men are not well, they have, but they're not going to keep doing it where the men aren't willing to take on any responsibility.
I don't even know if that's true. That's the sad part. I don't even know. I don't even know if Black women are willing to withdraw their support, their adoration.
Well, unfortunately, that's going to say a lot about Black women than it does Black men, and it's
No,
not.
that and that's my point, and that's my point, right? So we're talking about, like, if you're talking about an invisible group of people, their interests don't matter. Their future, it doesn't. What difference does it make? What matters is Black men. Black men's future matters. Black men's trajectory
to
matters.
extend my question, the reason I'm asking, is it race specific? I think of something like the Me Too movement, for example, because even though there's the perception that a man will look at a woman and immediately go to jail, and that's how things have always been, realistically, a lot of men, regardless of race, don't face consequences for this. Is just one example, the Me Too movement. So the Me Too
No, but
movement,
that's the point, though. The Me Too movement did not change things fundamentally for a lot of people who work in corporate America. What it did is it held certain men accountable in an attempt to highlight that the system will work. Because if women kept crying, like if we did not have, what is it called? In sociology, the idea is symbolic representation. The symbolism of the Me Too movement is to say that women now have some level of power. When they don't. Like, they're gonna still get catcalled, they're still gonna get touched, they're still going to be asked for favors to move up in the corporate world. It's still gonna happen, right? But on TV, it looks like, hey, we're sorting it out, right? So even in the media, there has to be some kind of symbolic representation of equality and power and access. The reason Me Too would ever work is because men bought into it, or at least pretended to buy into it. So Me Too, for those women, I mean, are there still people in Hollywood treating these women terribly? Probably.
I mean, why go to Hollywood? Aren't there still instances of maybe men in college?
Yeah,
He has his future
our
ahead of him.
culture.
Mhm. So again, is this just an illusion then? And in reality,
The
men are still
illusion
able to
is
be.
backed by a system that should work, right? So we have moved from like men soliciting sex from the workers to suggesting it for a promotion, and then you engage and you get your promotion, or you go to HR but you can't prove it. I think the difference is white men in the system in certain position are familiar with the system they created and how to navigate it without being captured in it. But if you are, you have to be dealt with in that system as if you did something bad, because you need other people's buy into that system. I think within the Black community, Black men don't have that. Like we all, like I don't think we are aware of how the patriarchy works and how we have to give into the system in order to reap the benefits of patriarchal power.
Traditionally,
Yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
that statement.
Traditionally, I agree with you, but culturally, Black women and Black men have bought into their own form or idea of whatever patriarchy is.
Yeah, which is, in my mind, should be unsustainable.
No,
Because
listen, the Black community is unsustainable.
no. But particularly because Black men are asking for patriarchal power, they technically do, because Black women still do follow Black men's lead. Like, it is what it is. But the reality is, I don't think they are aware of the bargaining that has to happen on their end. And I think they escape the duty of their responsibility in patriarchy by saying racism and Black women under accepting that because of racism and the system, Black men cannot give to them what other groups of men would give to their women in order to get what women give to men in a patriarchy. And so they benefit without having to be subjugated by it. Now, the masculinity thing still exists for them, but yeah. That's my analysis. I mean,
I agree with that. And like you said, it's not sustainable. Like people will eventually say, like, wait, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And start doing their own thing, which is currently happening. And I think that's why some men are really, really getting scared and worried, because they can see that this is happening. People are like, wait a minute, I'm just doing all this and you're not doing anything. So they're just, trying to live their best lives. So yeah, I agree with you.
It's interesting. White women are now looking to white women. People are like, oh, Black women are following white women into feminism. No. White women are looking to Black women in terms of how Black women were self-sufficient, have been self-sufficient ever since they walked off the plantation, right? And they are now wanting that kind of what they consider to be power, right? But this came, Black women's independence, if you want to call it that, was born out of trauma and necessity. And so I think it's interesting because, like, men are blaming Black women for trying to follow feminism, where Black women have done nothing different than exist. And to exist, they had to work. You know what I mean? Like, they had to care for themselves. There was never the stay-at-home wife in the Black American and Black Jamaican community ever. Like, not in mass.
People have this very Eurocentric idea of what that whole thing looks like, with the whole women staying home and being kept. And like, we know that around the world, that's just not the case for a lot of women. But people want to apply that to everyone. So yeah.
Can you read this comment? Because I see a comment that I actually want to read. Because I think he was one of the people in the debate with Destiny, and he got dragged. So I want to read his comment.
He's here?
Yeah, read.
Can he come on the panel?
Not to be insensitive, but Black women should not use our social and political currency to protest on behalf of any more Black men. Stop doubling down on this misogynoir.
Agreed.
And j'adore.
This guy. It wasn't he on there?
The pig, yeah, it is. Yeah. Black women are self-sufficient, but are asking for representation. Sir, so no, we can't take calls.
Wait. I'm confused as to what does self-sufficiency and representation have to do with each other.
That's the problem. Listen to this guy. Black women are self-sufficient. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, those are removed from each other, aren't they? Like, I pay I have a nice little minimalist home that I pay for here, and I'm able to sustain my lifestyle. This does not mean that, like, Black people are represented in the media in a meaningful way.
Does that mean do you want representation, Petty? Are you asking for representation because you pay your bills?
No, I'm not asking for it. I'm trying to see where the comment's coming from, because
that don't make sense.
It seems like two separate things, right?
Yeah, that's these like incel degenerate Black men in a nutshell, right? It's like two completely diametrically opposed ideas or concepts, and then they just try to fuse them together, and they try to make sense of it. Like, if you're asking for representation, that's not self-sufficient. What?
I need to know. Maybe
okay, so maybe we need to get you a dictionary. We need to get you a bookie book and a dictionary and a thesaurus and phonics and Kumon. Because again, you don't know what you're talking about. Whenever, and this is what I'm saying, Black men really bought into patriarchy.
I'm trying to remember. No, I'm trying to remember which one he was. Like, I'm like
the Indian-looking one, Themis at the bottom, who sounds like this. This is how he talks. This is how he sounds. Black women are responsible, but can't you blame Black women? Yeah, he was the Indian-looking one with a whole bunch of like shoes or plastic containers in his background.
Yeah, why am I mad at you? Because as soon as you did the voice, I knew who you were talking about.
Oh yeah. I think that is him. Yeah.
And this is what I'm saying. And I understand why no one is going to touch you with a 10-foot pole. and you're mad about it, and you're on here crying about it.
Well,
And
I
you're
would
on here
need
conflating representation and agency or being self-sufficient.
I guess, the definition of self-sufficient, because Oxford and Webster apparently have it wrong. It has to do with satisfying one's basic needs. I don't know that representation is a part of that. Well, I don't think so. So, yeah.
They're so stupid. Oh my God, man.
Milk World says patriarchy has never worked for Black women ever.
No, it has not. I agreed. Thank you.
I'm confused. Wait. I'm willing to talk to these people actually, because I'm confused. I will not now. Like we're 1 hour and 50 minutes in, but
Give
the
him 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Huh? Give him 10. Look, just 10 minutes.
Well, let's have your co-host vote. Should we drop the link for someone?
Look, whenever you do an after show, it goes on for like 5 hours. So I'm going to say no. You are doing a live stream this Friday, aren't you?
I am doing a live stream this Friday.
Well, I'm going to be there. Watching.
Patriarchy Strike Back. Are you the guy that was on there with the high voice?
Yeah, he was the one with the shoes. I have it on here now.
I remember exactly which one you were. Shouldn't you be able to blame Black women? Sir, you don't agree with me. I think that you are pathetic, sir. You agree with me still? I think you are degenerate, sir. I think that you're remedial, sir. I think that you're cognitively delayed, sir. I think that you couldn't get a woman to save your life, sir. You agree with me? Do you agree with that?
Well, I don't make ad hominem generally, but I don't think
if you're in the manosphere, you better start making ad hominems.
His representation on the panel was extremely poor, but it was like, I think it was a 1v. I don't know.
Listen, that white man sat on the panel and he told you about yourself. He told you how to understand and interpret data and statistics. Wait.
That's the thing, though. Sorry, I can't come on screen. I'm dying. I want to ask how he think he did on that panel. That's kind of what I want to know. No, I feel like Annalisa and I can. We can end, and then Annalisa and I will have a conversation with them.
Listen, they're so narcissistic that they will literally say, I think I did a good job, but Destiny, like, sir, you had a white man come up and tell you about your history.
So we're voting to close out and have him come up to tell us how he feels like he did on the debate.
I know exactly.
I mean, what's his name again? Sir, if you're here, are you willing to speak? I cannot, I won't drag you, but I'm pretty sure Annalisa will. I will attempt to not let Annalisa drag, but I don't control her.
No, sorry. I'm sorry. If he comes up, I won't. No pejoratives. Whatever he's saying, obviously I'll attack the talking points. Unlike him, I'll focus on what's being said. And unlike him, I will correctly interpret data and statistics.
His avatar is him conceding to Destiny. Let me see the avatar.
Wow.
What did he say? I don't know.
The white man is superior to you, fool. Only you.
But drop the link. All right. He said he's coming up. So we should. Kay, what do you say? Because Annalisa and I are saying yes. We're about that mess. Petty's like he doesn't want to dust up the chat. What do you say, Kay?
I don't know who this person is, so I am very confused. But if like Petty said it was gonna go on for like 5 more hours, I wouldn't be. Oh, so I think it just depends how much time it's gonna be.
So you and Petty will be on, but you guys can tell us when to stop. How
for
about
the
that?
I will
timekeeper.
give you 5 to 10 minutes, and
All right.
depending.
This is not very manospheric and red pill of you, by the way.
Yeah,
All right.
10 minutes.
This is only for this guy called the Patriarchy Strikes Back. You have 10 seconds. Anywho, the poor thing, she'd be so lost.
Wait, but okay,
I don't
hold
know who that
on.
person is.
Cage, you remember when we were, or maybe you don't. Do you remember when we talked about the angry man, the angry child?
You know, I've heard of the Angry Man, but I've never seen. I don't
Look,
spend a lot of time.
look, there he is.
So I don't know where you want to begin.
How do you think you did? Do you think you guys represented well? Did you think you win that debate?
No, I think that Destiny made a lot of good points. I think Angry Man, in my opinion, and I know you're not going to agree with this, I think Angry Man made some great points.
Wait, give me. Actually, no, stop. Let me let you go.
Okay. So the points that I can concede to Destiny is that in terms of the crack epidemic, right? And if anybody had watched the debate, there was a point in time where Angry Man was starting to blame Joe Biden's crime bill, right? I'm actually pro Biden crime bill. I feel that at that point in time, if you look at violence in the late 80s and early 90s, something had to be done about that. And so that wasn't a black woman issue. If black men are out there dealing dope and killing people, then they need to be locked up. So I do think that point, I couldn't necessarily agree with Angry Man on, right?
Gotcha. Wait. So you're with Destiny on the drug thing. So more black men should go to prison.
If you're out there committing crime, and if you're out there murdering people, absolutely. And
Right.
that is, it's not the white man's fault. You made a choice. You're committing crime and you're doing things that are negative. I do also think that there is a little bit of nuance in terms of, are men leaving their families? Are some people not being the fathers that they need to? Absolutely. But I also think that we have a justice system in terms of family court that isn't necessarily doing the best by fathers either.
Like what?
Wait. Before you go, Alicia, sorry. So you would concede that you guys lost that debate?
Well, when you say win and lose, I don't understand what you mean.
So win and lose. So win and lose. Let's just we'll do the dictionary.
Yeah.
We'll make it simple, right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So to win is to be successful or victorious in a contest or conflict. Do you feel as though you were successful in that debate?
Absolutely. Can I tell you why?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay. Sure.
Because I was the one that set the debate up.
No, see.
No, hold on a second. Can I finish? Right. If the goal was to get clout for Angry Man, then he accomplished his goal.
Oh, wait a minute. So outside of wearing knee pads for Destiny, so that you guys could get clout, you had no interest in.
It was great knee pads, by the way. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Wait, no. This is kind of annoying.
I would do it anytime.
Good. So you're saying you went there to get traction, so you won on that front. Good. Are you saying substantively you guys won? Like, do you think he had stronger points than you?
In certain terms, yes. I think that in certain things, Destiny had great points, and in other things, I had great points.
What great points do you have?
Let me start with. So one of the first things that he said, right, and I think it's incredibly disingenuous to black women currently, was he said that the only reason black women are becoming leaders is because black men failed them. I disagree with that. Black women now are ambitious. Black women, independently of what black men have done to them, are seeking to become leaders, heads of state, CEOs, titans of industry. And I think that I think black women in this day and age, right, have largely moved on from black men. I think right now black women are becoming CEOs because they want to become CEOs. They're becoming senators and congressmen because they want to become senators and congressmen. It's not about what some black men did to them. They're not all.
Wait,
That's
wait,
not what Stephen said. That's
But
not
you
what
are,
Stephen said. That
yeah, but
wasn't the point. You missed the point.
you do know that in a patriarchy where men have power, generally the women are dependent on the men.
Not any women. The new
General
age,
in a patriarchy.
generally speaking, but that's not what we're living.
Right.
Women,
okay, but hold on.
women
Wait
are
a minute.
now
Hold on. Wait a
ambitious
minute.
today.
Wait a minute. No, hold on.
Yes, ma'am.
Was Stephen talking about currently? Was he talking about the political and social climate as of 2022, 2023? Or did you guys do a backlog and go throughout the history of the Black community and hold on.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go back through history to figure out why Black women have become independent, or at least more independent than their white female counterparts or Asian female counterparts? Is that how it worked, or were you guys specifically relegating that debate and that conversation to Black women of 2022 and 2023?
Well, me personally, when
no. There was only one conversation being had.
No, there were two conversations being had.
No, there was one debate.
Hold on a second. There was an entire conversation that happened for an hour and a half before I even got in. So the point that I'm making today is that Black women today are independently ambitious. They are independently ambitious of what men do. They're not waiting for some man.
Right. So why were you talking about the crime bill if you were talking about 2000?
Angry Man brought up the crime bill, not me.
Right. No. Hold on. He brought up the crime bill.
Yes.
You're right. You talked about, you guys all collectively, like as if it was like a got you moment. You guys talked about welfare, the advent of welfare, and the impact, your perceived impact that it had on the Black community. Are you talking about welfare? I didn't talk about
welfare at all. I talked about the family justice system and why I was for Biden's crime bill. I wasn't 100% in agreement with Angry Man. The idea that even the fact that he titled it 1 versus 3 debate, it was ridiculous because I didn't even agree with all of Angry Man's points.
All right, let's step back. Cool. What were you saying about the court system? He lost victoriously to destiny.
Well, like I said, the white man is superior, right? I mean, as a, the white men,
I think that might be
your. They gave me rights. They wrote the Declaration of Independence. I mean, look at everything that they've given me.
How are you better than?
No,
I'm not better than anybody.
No, I am asking you a question now. How are you? What point do you want to make about the court system regarding custody?
Well, one of the things that was spoke about, and I did my research on it afterwards, was I think that there's something fundamentally wrong, right? Not going to say it's women, not going to say it's men, not going to say it's 100% the court system. But if something is happening and nobody's succeeding in this and broken families are constantly occurring, then I think everybody has failed in one form or another, right?
Wait, it feels like you're backpedaling now, because it was very specifically blaming Black women and how they weaponize the court system against men.
Okay.
So are you saying...
Has that happened before?
Are you saying Black women weaponize the court system against Black men?
There's people weaponize the court system amongst all groups of people, not just Black women.
All right.
Black women's done it. Black men have done it.
That was a specific framework. So So you were saying, what is your point then about the court system?
The point that I'm making is that the court system is not doing a good job in building good families.
In what way?
Is that the court? Is that the job of the court?
It can be. Yeah. I mean, if it's family court, it should be building families.
Should that be the job of the court?
Yes.
Do you think the job of the family court is to build family?
Correct.
So you wouldn't agree that the family court should address family issues. You think it should build family.
Why is it addressing family issues to eventually build?
When do you go to court?
When do I go to court? I've never been to court.
When do people go to court?
when they do something wrong?
When there's an issue.
Okay.
Because when you go to civil court, it doesn't mean you did something wrong. You could be suing someone. So if
Okay.
you're going to court to solve an issue, it is to address issues. It doesn't build families.
What is the goal in solving the issue?
To solve the issue, to continue to create a functioning society, you should not have to go to court.
And what is the backbone of a functioning society?
I'm assuming you're going to say family.
Correct.
All right. Whose fault is it that they are childless, they're fatherless children in the Black community?
Everybody's fault. It's the fault of the man. It's the fault. Hold on a second. It's the fault of the man because the man left the woman. It's the fault of the woman because you chose a man that would leave you.
All right. How does a woman go about choosing a man that's not going to leave them?
I don't know. I've never chosen a man.
So I'm going to tell you that most people don't know the man is going to leave them. How do you
choose men?
I don't choose men.
Okay. How do you know that? As a woman, I don't know. I'm not one of these guys. I'm not one of these. I'm not one of these fresh and fit guys. I'm not one of these fresh and fit guys that say, "Hey."
If you're telling women that they should choose better, essentially,
yeah,
right? Should they look at the stat and say?
I agree with some of Anna's points. If I was a woman, right? If I'm a woman and I see a bunch of men in my group who I know,
your group is your mom white?
No, she's not. So
let me pause. Let me pause. I just muted all of the panelists. I do enjoy the conversation that was going back and forth between Themis, and since I'm co-hosting, I'm going to be muting everybody so that conversation can continue respectfully. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm done. I just want to know if he's biracial.
Yeah, I'm definitely a half breed. So let me just say this, right? So this is when I have to agree with Anna. If I see, I do think Black women have a undying loyalty to Black men, right? And I don't know if Black men kind of throw that loyalty back a lot of times, to be honest with you, right? So I understand why somebody would want to choose up in another group if this is somebody that they know is financially beneficial to them, if they know that this is somebody, if they're putting their best interests forward with what they're choosing. And
why weren't you backing Destiny then?
Because that wasn't the argument that they were having.
What was the argument you were having?
The argument I was having is this, right? That I think that the family court system can be at times biased against men. And I think that the argument I was having with Angry Man is you can't blame Black women for crack, right? When I talk about Black women today, right? And the issues that I have with certain Black women, not all Black women, of course, right? I'm not talking about Black baby mamas to a certain extent. I'm not talking about that. And that is a problem, but that's not what I'm talking about. The problem that I have with some Black women, right, is the political avenue or the political ideology that they have in that they're being represented in media and in government, right? When I look at the way a lot of Black women vote, they vote in a way that is against my interests, right? When I look at how they vote or how they align with the Democratic Party, their policies and things like that, that is what I'm referencing. I'm not referencing, some woman. I'm not referencing the Tyler Perry story, right? Some woman got done wrong by some man, and now she hates all men. I could care less about that. I'm talking about when women get money and power collectively, right? That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Stacey Abrams, the Mayor Cantrells, the Keisha Lance Bottoms, the originators of Black Lives Matter. That's what I'm talking about. Does that make sense?
No, because when you were saying it now, right? I'm going to play your debate in a minute because I do actually have it. Your debate. The issue that I'm having is it feels like you're more in line with Destiny currently.
I mean, it just depends.
Because you came on and you said Black women use the court system against men. Specifically, you pointed to the 90% of the time women get custody.
Correct.
was debunked by Destiny.
No, it was not. So I actually went to go look up those statistics later on, and that statistic that Chicago Tribune, the Chicago Tribune article that he cited has no primary source to it. The Census Bureau is the only one that keeps data and information on where custody is awarded. The Chicago
That's not
Tribune,
true.
that is true.
No. The
Show me the
court,
primary
the
source.
judicial system. Let me pull up the data
Yeah,
because
go ahead.
the issue that we're having. Wait, by the way, can you send me your research?
Yes, sir.
You can send it in the private chat
Yes,
because
sir.
90% of cases actually don't go to court.
Don't go to court. That's correct.
All right, that's not your research,
talking about,
though.
No. What he brought up was he was saying that when custody cases are contested, that fathers win 60% of the time. That was a 1994 article. There was no primary source connected to that.
There is a primary source. Well, I don't know about
me.
I don't know
Show it to
what he was doing, but I want to see where you got your research from first.
Where I got my Census Bureau.
Can you send the
Yes, sir.
research?
Yes, sir.
Because it is true that 60% of the time when the man escalated, it goes to the man. The issue with that, and your argument should not be that's not true. It should be why. Because those men probably have money and have a better case. That's what TLA would posit. So I don't know why you guys aren't actually engaging in meaningful research. So 60% of the time,
because some of us are black. Black people don't research.
Okay, he's trolling.
Right?
This is really.
I'm just saying. I only do half my research. I just dropped the census.
You didn't do any research. If you are saying
I just dropped my link. I just dropped my census link.
Where?
It's in the back chat.
I don't see it.
You don't see it? I'll drop it again. What was that we were gonna say about my mom? I'll do it again.
There's nothing in this link you gave me that showed the winning, black men or women winning, or women or men winning.
It's general. So what you want to do is, if you go down to page 15, right, from page 15 to page. See, this is what I'm saying. Black men don't do the research, right? He's full black. So if you scroll down to page 15, right, that's when you start to get the data and the statistics on who's winning custody and how things are being distributed.
Where does it say the percentage? What percentage of the time do men win?
So what it does is, like I said, it doesn't have that information. He's citing my whole point is that the article he cited from the census in the Chicago Tribune article in 1994 had no data or statistics aligned with that. The Census Bureau, they're the ones that collect this data, right? And if you look at, hold on a second, let me see real quick. On page 16, it goes into detail about custodial support, and then in page 15 as well. So like I said, from 15, it breaks down the numbers. Like I said, where are you getting? I need to know from a primary source where the person that wrote the 1994 article got the information that in contested cases that fathers win a majority of the time, because I can't find that. I can't find that anywhere.
I think the question is,
and maybe it's because I'm half black that I can't find it, but I just can't find it. This is
I'm not. All right, I'm gonna. I feel like you don't want to actually have this conversation in good faith.
I do.
Because what you've done two things right now, and I don't know if people just sit around and waste people's time on the internet. That's probably what happens. Do not interrupt me. I didn't interrupt you. It's odd to me that you're coming up here and you're providing a source that doesn't have any kind of data regarding what percent of the time the men win. Wait for my video. It will be coming out shortly that gives you guys an argument on the opposite end. TLA started making the argument and he stopped short because Ruslan did not push back hard enough. The issue you are having here is that men are not going to court to win their children. 90% of the time, they sign over custody to the mother. If you're saying, first of all, do you know the standard by which a court decides who gets custody?
They're going to do it for what's best for the child.
What the standard? Do you know the name of the standard?
No.
All right, it's fine. It is the best interest of the child, so close enough. Do you know what they analyze?
I don't know. Maybe income. I don't know.
No, they look at the child as it changes from state to state, but as a general matter, they look at the child's emotional stability, how connected they are to the parent, that sort of stuff, right? Are you saying the best interest of the child analysis is not correct?
I'm saying that, 90% of that is never judged.
Right? Yeah, but we were talking about the 2% that goes to, the less than 2%, sorry, that goes to court. Are you saying that the system is broken because the analysis is inaccurate?
I'm saying that there's a reason why 90% of them don't go to court. And I'm saying that there is a certain cost that are involved within custody cases, and it takes a very long period of time.
All right, so you don't know about the case, that's fine. But so you're saying the finance is the problem. It's too expensive.
It could be. That's what I've heard.
Is that what you're saying? I'm asking you a question. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe.
What is the problem with the court system?
The problem with the court system is it's not doing a good enough job in terms of building families.
How?
What do you mean how?
The court does not build family. I'm going on with you and say how. It seems like it
seems like it destroys them.
All right, fine. How?
What do you mean how? People who go through divorce cases a lot of times aren't happy with the end goal, right?
Yes.
Children who are in these situations, how do a lot of them end up?
So I'm trying to get you to answer a question. You said the system is broken, and I'm asking you where. Is it the entire system? Is there a specific part? You attempted to just say that it is too expensive. It is very costly to engage if you're hiring an attorney to go through custody battle, upwards of $15,000.
Do you think that that's a good thing?
No, I'm asking you if that is the problem you see.
That could be one part of it as well.
Is that a problem? Is the amount of money? All right. So you do know you can represent yourself.
You want black men representing themselves?
I'm asking you a question. Do you know that you can represent yourself?
I guess, yeah.
What is the problem with representing yourself?
I mean, look at how poorly of a job I'm doing up here right now. You think black men have the capability to do that?
Well, by and large, I don't
think people who are poor.
I'm not going to do this. It was great speaking with you, but I'm not going to engage in trolling. All right. I think part of the problem ultimately is I think people default into sarcasm when they are cornered and they don't know what is happening. And it's okay to not know. It's okay to say, hey, I didn't know the standard. I didn't know that, so I might need to look. His ultimate issue is that it's too costly. That might be one of his arguments, which is a good argument. It's not bad. It is too costly. However, there are attorneys who do this for free. If you can't find them, you can do it yourself. If you can't do it yourself, if you're afraid that your wife is going to get, or ex-wife is going to get counsel and you are not going to get counsel, the truth is your reality is wrong regarding hypergamy, because there is no way that you think these women are not going to date down and then also have more money than the man to afford an attorney, right? So there is a longer conversation that can be had. It's just really difficult to have that conversation because now he's going to, I don't know if he has a channel, he's going to attempt to say, oh, he just went up there to troll. And that's fine. Your ego is bruised. You don't know what you're talking about. That's like, it's understandable. But period. The reality is he's not gonna. Annalise, I was pulling back and telling you not to, because to attack is only going to make him think, oh, I came up here to be attacked and they didn't want to engage. I wanted for myself to understand if he knew what he was doing. And the reality is he does not.
Like you said, I think there could have been meaningful conversation. I think what got me was when he disagreed on the court statistic regarding 60% of fathers getting custody. And to combat that, he sent this data to us from the census, which has no info about that at all in it.
And wanted us to go through it again, like most people. Sorry.
I was looking forward to, maybe there is research to counter this. Maybe there, but no, this is insulting almost.
After you debate with Destiny, I would think you would go review the debate, and if you don't want to change your mind, beef up your argument. Let's read the super chat before we go. Like, I just feel like the assignment is to beef up your argument or change it.
Breezington said his goal was to be an agent of chaos. Congratulations, you played yourself. Whew, got. Sunnyside said he's an actor. He performs for the room he's in. Yeah, at the point where he said, yeah, we got on our knees. We had some good knee pads too. I was like, wait. But CJ says patriarchy. Do you like Jesse Lee Peterson?
We should have asked. I'm sorry, Jay. I wasn't going through the super chats live. We need to be better about reading super chats in real time. I don't know how we do that, but those are good super chats.
Mokalak says, is he black? He said in the chat his voice is little because his ancestors weren't hung up or something like that. Yeah, he was saying some odd stuff in the chat. He also said, anyway, I won't say that out loud.
Oh, Michelle, welcome to the membership. Oh, he's like an actual troll then.
Yeah. Lady M, Anna, please let Themis take this one. Pretty Bones, he was talking differently when he was debating Destiny and that Angry Bird man.
So I was waiting, because if he was in good faith, I was going to play back some of them. I actually had his portion of the debate queued up. Where is it?
I have it over.
Here it is.
To place responsibility on what you said that backbone was.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, they're not the backbone because women want to be the leaders of the Black community. But that's essentially what's happened in a lot of these communities.
Anywho, I'm not going to play it. But I had it queued up because, like, for me, one of the things about debating, and it wasn't a full debate, but, like, one of the things about debating is you have to get to understand where people are coming from so they can switch their position. So you have them outline their thesis and then you go in. But he wasn't going to do that because I'm like, what is the problem with the court? What is the problem with the court? They're like, it could be this, it could be that. The court are supposed to build family. Got what?
Something's wrong with him.
Nels World says, okay, wait. Most guys don't fight for their children. That's why they don't get them, which Destiny stated that was a you problem, meaning Black men.
Yep. Themis, you ended it too soon. You were about the thing is, my debate style, unfortunately, only works with people who are intellects, or people who are willing to be thoughtful. So if you're going to default to trolling, then that's the best way to like derail, because like my brain doesn't work in that way. Like, I'm not joking back and forth with you. Like, I'm trying to understand you. Like, fundamentally, if I'm debating with you, I'm not just attacking. I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. If I can understand you, I can then dismantle what you're saying. If I can't, you're just doing everything. Oh, I'm sorry, Lady M. Everyone is telling Anna to like hold back.
This is when I wasn't even talking. They're just like analyzing my facial expression. Yeah, something is wrong with him, chat. Something is wrong with that individual.
Yeah, I maybe should have listened to Anna this time, actually. Nell's World, foolish if you go to page 15, it doesn't have that information because, like he said, they don't read the research. Yeah, that was I did notice he was trying to slide condescendingness in
Yeah.
there.
The thing is, maybe we should have let Anna go.
Yeah, I was like, maybe.
Like that's what I'm saying. If he's like on a circuit, on a clout circuit, and he's going from panel to panel to try to get clout, yeah, no, I'll meet your clout, and then I'll raise you a dragging into the pits of hell. How about that?
It's concerning too. He said the goal was to go over there and get clout, but this is. I'm not every black man, but to see black men on the stage like this is embarrassing. This is not the type of clout I want for my community. The type where you're in angry man's corner, and that's not the image I want. Gia Homid says, can't see, number 1, stats. Number 2, his shoes are dirty. Number 3, can't see his need for proactive. The men's need therapy and skincare.
Something's wrong. Something is fundamentally and psychologically wrong with them. And if you're going to tell me that this individual is not an incel, he's not an incel. He could beat a woman over the head. Actually,
I wanna. So like, I'm trying to not be annoyed by what he just did up here, because you have a right. Like, it's people on YouTube. Why? There's a part of me that is super disrespectful in that, how dare me? Well, one, you're on my platform, so that's probably why. But I think I'm wrong in that, how dare me try to get someone to engage in good faith? And I know that sounds weird, and I'm like propping myself up, but like, I actually do believe that like, it's okay that people are like trolling or whatever. As soon as I get that, I'll just remove them. Like, I'm not going to engage with it. I think that's fair.
Like when I heard him saying, CJ said he celebrated angry man's exposure like you know that you're bad. You know it's bad when your degeneracy has been displayed in front of the world and you're going around, and that's a W for you. You feel like you got clout. That's a W for you.
But I mean, I guess that's the part of it. Anything to get clout. Anyway, we have been on for a long time. Great job, Anna. This was your week. That was very well done. Wait, you're making your face up. You did do a good job. I actually enjoyed it.
I didn't even get to. That's probably my own fault. Listen, I want to close out the show by saying that, first of all, I love it here. And W chat, because you guys are saying that I didn't drag him. I don't have to, because you guys are here. You guys dragged him for filth. You dragged his biracial, his white mom, and his dusty black father. You guys dragged him. So, obviously, W chat, they have our back. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. And yeah. Okay, I love you. Themis, I love you. Prince Petty, I love you. Prince Petty, you and I have some beef. We have beef, but I still love you.
And that's that on that, or whatever that thing is you say. Period. And all that. There is beef. Yeah. 2023. That's how we're ending it.
Okay. Anything? We good?
Yes, we're good. This seemed so much longer. That whole end part was just such a waste of. You tried the Themis. You tried to have a.
No, it was. I agree.
Discussion, but I was sitting over here like, what?
Okay, we should listen to the women. Who said don't do it? We didn't listen to Kay. Annalisa said let me drag him. We didn't. So at this point, I believe your Prince Petty was very much against it. Like all
look at it, Themis. Look at his face.
I said this is not going to be a 5-minute thing. Like it never is.
We left it up to your discretion. In all fairness,
it was our fault, Petty, because we were supposed to stop it between 5 and 10 minutes.
I will never do that again, Themis. I will never ever do that again. I will never let my impulses and my disgust for incels. I'll never let it take over like that again, ever. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry, chat. I love you guys. Sorry.
So that's that on that. Thank you all so much. We'll be back here. We might need to open up the panel for some lively discussions. If I don't like a dog pile, so if there's someone who comes up here that disagrees with the entire panel, only one person, they will choose. That's what we're gonna do. When people disagree, they come up and they'll choose who they want to argue with. They will choose who they want to drag with, and then everyone else go on mute. Let's do that. Let's do that. All right, we'll start next week. The last hour will be disagreements. All right, we'll talk about it. We'll come back to you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. I will read the super chat and then we are going off. In all honesty, I think you can have a convo with only a certain type of people. I'm willing to have a convo in good faith. Cheeky Banter, are you manosphere adjacent? If you look, I'm willing to talk to anyone. So next week, we'll try to cut out a part of the podcast where people come up and you can choose your verses, essentially. Unless you choose K, then I might have to step in. I'm not about to have y'all drag K up here. K is not a fighter.
Look.
Kay's a lover, and we love Kay. And
Thank you, Cheeky Banter.
And you'll get box up if you bother Kay.
All right, cool. So we will talk next week. Have a wonderful night, guys. Bye.